All right, we're talking MAC Hall of Fame, Jerry Rickrode. This is your year 2024, get inducted. Congratulations. Brian Gryboski, back in the day, one of the guys played on some of these great teams. There's so many great players that we could talk to. Brian just happens to be available today. It's great to catch up with him. We'll get some questions for him. But Coach, let's hone in on you in 1992. Somehow you found your way here to Wilkes University. How did that all go down?
You know, you never can predict the twists and turns in life. It's funny, I was an assistant coach at Ithaca College before I came here. And there was a playoff game. We were recruiting a young man from down in this area. The game was at Wilkes University. So my wife and I actually came to the game, and we sat in the stands at the end there. And the place was packed. Okay, the place was packed. And I looked over at Kathy and I said, you know, this is a really nice facility. Look at this atmosphere. And from my knowledge, Wilkes has not been very good as a basketball program at that point, you know? But it's funny, you know, that they got a great facility. I mean, there's a lot of people here, you know. It looked great. Interestingly enough, about a month later, I had a call from a buddy of mine, Frank Marcinic, who was the head coach at Susquehanna University. We had been roommates at Ithaca College together in grad school. And he calls me up, he goes, hey, Jerry, goes, job at Wilkes is going to open up. I think it'd be a good job for you to look into. He said, but if you get the job, just make sure, you know, it's probably like a 2 or 3 year thing because you can't ever win there. So, you know, Scranton Kings just kind of beat everybody up, you know. I didn't know much about it, even though I grew up in Pennsylvania. But I did look at the job. I interviewed and I got the job. So I looked at it from a standpoint of, you know, you get a job there hasn't been much done, or I don't want to say done, but they haven't had a lot of success. So you can go nowhere but up, rather than taking over the Super Bowl champs. You know what I mean? And just kind of snowballed.
Did you have success immediately at Wilkes here?
You know, it's funny. I want to say, yeah. We started off that first year with a group of guys that had a couple guys that we brought in that summer that ended up being good 4-year players. But the guys that were back were kind of eager to win and do things the right way. And we weren't very good compared to many of the teams in the future. Okay, not even close. But that first team was 16-9, and we ended up beating the University of Scranton when they were ranked number 1 in the country. The first time we ever played them up there at the Long Center, with me as a coach, we won that game, and it kind of got the guys' confidence. So we were 16-9 that first year, and I'm going to say overachieved. We really couldn't score much, but we were pretty good defensively, and then it just kind of snowballed. We had some good recruiting classes and got some good players.
Speaking of good players, you got one next to you, a guy who really did a great job. His physique hasn't changed a whole lot since college. He looks even stronger. Yeah. I don't even know. It's probably 20 plus years. But Brian Gryboski, let's talk a little bit about, you know, what you're thinking. You're a good athlete, you know, locally. Your brother's a great athlete as well. And talk a little bit about what lured you here. Hey, I'm going to go play for Jerry Rickrode.
Yeah, so John, it's a great question. Thinking back to being a kid growing up, our hearts were set on going to the University of Scranton and playing basketball. My dad did a lot of work up there. He worked for a construction company as a superintendent, and a lot of the buildings up there were done by his company. So as a kid, I was up there all the time. I saw a lot of the games the year they won the national championship. And I was like, geez, Dad, someday I want to play basketball at this school. Fast forward, going through high school, my junior year, we had a really good run at Bishop Hoban, and there was a bunch of players that Coach Rickrode at the time was recruiting. So I got a chance to meet him. I got a chance to meet some of the other players on the team, the assistant coaches. I was like, geez, all right, looks like they have a really good thing going here. And so when that time came to make a decision on where to go, my heart was on coming to Wilkes. And the reason for that was just coming here, like Coach said, the atmosphere. There's games where there's over 3,000 people here. Fans are into it. I'm like, that's the crowd I want to play in front of. And Add to that, academically, I was a biology undergrad. They had a great major, great program, so I was sold on being part of that.
In your career now, I mean, you're doing very well for yourself, but credit to, thinking forward, back then of what you wanted to do. And boy, that education here at Wilkes really took you to a nice place for your career.
It did, 100%. I think a lot of the relationships that you cultivate over the years as a student athlete, the work ethic that you need to have to be a student athlete. I mean, as a science major, you have multiple labs and they're 3 hours. And Coach was great. He was a bio major as well, so that helped. And then fast forward to the professional world, again, we've all stayed close over the years, the players that I played with, a lot of the classmates I've had. And the neat thing about it is everybody is very successful in life. So not only do we have a good run as a basketball team, but life after basketball has been very, very successful.
And Jerry, going back to you, those relationships, guys like Brian, there's so many guys we could talk to, and so many guys that when we get together, you just mentioned you throw 4 or 5 names off all the time, and successes that they're doing, whether they're a basketball coach or in pharmaceuticals or whatever they're doing well in life. You can't really coach up that closeness. It was the culture of what you created here at Wilkes.
Yeah, I put a lot of onus back on them because they were great people to coach, okay? But they're all really been successful in life. And I think that is the nicest thing about, looking back now. I think you get hung up in the wins and the losses and who you're playing next and scouting this team and this and that and getting this recruit. But, after it's all said and done and look back, I have relationships with these guys, really positive ones. They're all doing well in school. They got families. It's just, they're doing great in their occupations. It's special, And Brian was part of a class. Actually, there was 2 guys in his class, another guy, Scott Cleveland, and that came in the same year. And they've got the best record of any class that ever played Wilkes basketball. They were 99-17 for their 4 years. I know it's going to irritate Jay Williams because he was 99-18 his class. But just special guys to coach and real blue collar. We tried to create that atmosphere, and much of it was because of what kind of mindset these guys had.